I wouldn't ask whether it was made in Nigeria or not. Is it well made? Yes. Is it beautiful? Yes. I'll buy it. And we know, we're women, that these dresses are more expensive than what you and I are wearing now. So I think that Nigerians have to be held accountable to specs, to international global standards. I won't buy a badly made thing, much as I'm very patriotic and I spent the greater part of my life trying to see how I can contribute to moving this country forward. So I think Nigerians should be held accountable, because if you make bad products, and you deserve not to be patronized, and if you make good products, you don't need to convince anybody. You know, I think that the same way I say a good business idea, I mean, I've seen people who tell me, I have money, I'm looking for great ideas to invest in. So when I hear people saying funding, I say to myself, there we go again. It's not true. Okay? So if you work well, I mean, Muni Shonibare Ayo Furniture makes ethnic furniture, and she's screaming out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I don't think it's about us not appreciating what we have. I mean, we know that these days, every wedding you go for, we have beautifully made ashwabi in traditional material. So I think we're proud of it. The only thing is that we're used to the fact that if you buy something made abroad, it lasts longer. And therefore, you don't want to waste money buying what will peel before you even get home.
But if that might be a question of perception. Let's just find out what Mr. Bello was saying. Mr. Bello, you're saying something.
Yeah, I think our leaders also have a role in this respect. You can see that during the time of Shagari, everybody wanted to wear the kind of dress Shagari was wearing. During the time of Jonathan, everybody was wearing the hat. So our leaders, if our leaders could patronize made in Nigeria products, the followers would certainly start using made in Nigeria goods. But if our leaders cannot do it, then everybody will go his own way. You know, if for example, in a Federal Executive Council, a minister goes with a shoe, an Italian shoe, and the president looks at it and says, Honorable Minister, why did you get this shoe in Nigeria? I want to go and buy which factory are making it. Tomorrow we will not go with that shoe. He will not. And we are good followers. We follow whatever our leaders do. Nigerians are good followers. So I will also call on our leaders to start patronizing made in Nigeria goods, and we will follow.
Okay, as we begin to wind down here, let's look at that matter about unemployment. You talked about unemployment, about an average of about 60% of Nigerian youth, a lot of them unemployed. And the last administration during their campaigns talked about paying 5,000 naira to the unemployed.
The last administration.
The present administration during their campaigns talked about paying 5,000 naira to unemployed graduates as a stipend to keep them going. Is that viable? Would that in any way encourage them to use their hands? I do know a young man I know that went to study architecture eventually. When he finished secondary school, he started doing wiring. He was in school, he learned it. He began to wire houses, and that's how he paid his fees through the higher institution where he studied architecture. So paying them 5,000 naira, would it encourage
or taking the bulk of the money and investing in the economy, which is better?
I mean, you're already giving the answer. But let's even look at what they're trying to achieve. This government is sincerely looking to alleviate poverty. And we're with them on that. And it's really heartwarming to know that finally we have people who have a sincere intention to alleviate poverty and fight corruption. But the question is, will that 5,000 naira actually alleviate poverty? And the answer is clearly no. So I think what they should try to do is stick to the campaign promise of alleviating poverty and do it in a way that will empower the people such that governments will spend less, the people will have more, but they will learn to earn it, which is what will contribute to GDP and help us grow. Giving them 5,000 naira is like, as the saying goes, giving a man a fish instead of teaching him to fish. First is that you can't even, the fact that I'm unemployed today doesn't mean I'll be unemployed tomorrow. So if you've already put me down on that list as an unemployed person today, and I get a job tomorrow, I'm likely to say, what if I lose the job? Let me leave my name on that list as a safety net. So at the end of the day, it's even difficult to get the number of people. So for example, they estimated 25 million people. Meanwhile, the NBS, Nigerian Bureau for Statistics, says they have 74 million. Now with 25 million people as estimated, they're estimating that they will need 1.25 trillion, 1.5 trillion per annum and 125 billion per month. Something we really can't afford. And the worst part is that that money will not lead to anything, because not even a beggar can live on 5,000 a month. Okay, so it just cushions the laziness. And then the month you don't give it, we may almost have a civil war. So what I would advocate is that governments, rather than give that money, seeks ways to empower these people. They want to provide food for children, school children free of charge. That's a noble initiative. Why don't they send out a tender for caterers and give the conditions that will, saying, for example, you must engage the unemployed people to work for you. And they must train the people, because by the time you've trained those women and you've paid them, they're going to have much more than 5,000 naira in their hands. And they're earning a regular income. Now, the young men in the IDP camps, especially, who are doing nothing, playing football, impregnating the young girls there, okay, if they're given farmlands, portions to farm, and they're told, for example, we'll provide the mechanization, because at the end of the day, if you really want to get agribusiness to reap its potentials, we must go into mechanized farming. Yes, smallholder farmers cannot afford the equipment, but you can get companies that can provide the equipment that they can lease. Even if they can't pay for the lease, they can accumulate the amount so that when they guarantee purchase, they net off the cost of the equipment that they have been provided with, and the farmers still earn something after producing a lot, and still earn a lot actually, but at the same time they've been helped to reap the full potential of their land. Now these young men can be introduced into agribusiness and told that they will be guaranteed purchase of whatever they produce. They will earn over hundreds of thousands at the end of the month, not just 5,000, and they're productive, contributing to the GDP and reducing crime.
Okay,
so
let me put this out to all of us here so that we can weigh in on this. Ikmosa Humavi says he has several tweets here and all pointing to the government creating something like Enterprise Hub, creating something like a building. There's power supply, there's internet, so that this unemployed people can come in there, have offices or have rooms where they can sit down, think, plan, and then launch out on their own. But the government creates that, first of all, that platform, like a launch pad for them to go. Do you think that's working?
I think that we've seen that it's been done. I'm so sorry, but the Ministry of Labor and Productivity at the time had centers where people could learn to tile, they could learn to plumb, become vulcanizers and things like that. Those training centers are dormant. The same thing with the organization that I was working with before, NAPEP. Before we got there, they had centers. They said they had 23 in the country. What are they doing with those centers? So the question is, who is going to manage those things? I think things work when private sector pushes it. You have Co-Creation Hub, you have Aspire Incubator. Those are tech incubators that give space to people, and they have programs for people, and they're doing it because they also have clients who may want to use the services of people who come through their programs. So it means that people are being trained, and so I understand that if you were going to give a stipend for a year of intense training for somebody, and so after they get that intense training, they are off-boarded to be guaranteed a job in a corporation, then that makes sense, because you're training them somewhere and they're lifting them out of poverty. The same thing with poor women.
What if the job is not guaranteed? What about
so that's the point. So the point here is, you don't just train in a vacuum. You train, so for example, we're saying the hospitality industry, hotels are coming in. So you train people for that industry. We're saying in the real estate industry, there are many people building everywhere, they're building everywhere around us. But do we really have people who are trained to build properly? No. So we train for a purpose. And so if government identifies that we need to train people in 2 or 3 or 5 sectors, then the training isn't general. So, for example, at some point I heard Macy's was trying to come into Nigeria, and I was thinking, where will they find tailors? So train tailors for that industry. So it's pointed training, not just general training that doesn't lead you anywhere.
Mr. Bello?
I think it's a good idea to create such areas. And whenever I talk, I will bring in the custom aspect of it. The government should be able to create a free zone area where these kinds of training will take place. You have them in Dubai, for example. You have a university or education free zone area. You have training free zone areas. Why can't we not establish this kind of thing in this country, so that all the things that will come into those free zone area will be of duty free, and then they'll be able to have an environment, a good conducive environment for the learning, and then the training and everything will take place in those areas.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank you so much for coming on to Sunrise this morning. We've been speaking with a former Comptroller General of Customs, Mr. Haman Bello. Thank you so much for being here. We also have in the studio Dr. Angela Adelaja, the CEO, Zara Empressa Limited.
Yes, and Fresh Tracks Produce and
Okay, thank you so much for being here. If farmers look like this, then I think I'll also look into
we look
farming.
like this when you add technology, then you can still get your hands dirty in a different way.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. And of course, we have Dr. Henrietta Onwe-Buzie of the Lagos Business School. Thank you so much for sharing your insight this morning.